Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing again on July the 5th. This is a Sunday after an exciting 4th of July. This is South Texas News and Reviews, and I think I've got about the appropriate number of seconds on the front of this, and I want to show you something that's very special to me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a watercolor that was painted by one of my former students. She's now in the nursing program, about ready to finish, I think, this fall. And she's one of the rising artists. There's an exhibition downtown with some of her other works and about 8 or 10 other people that are rising artists around here. This young lady is Yvette Chauvin, and she was, as I say, my former student. I know she had got a big kick out of me attempting to draw a bluebird during her class when she took my microbiology class. So she decided she'd go ahead and show me what a true bluebird really looks like, bless her heart. Anyway, that's Yvette Chauvin, and they've got several other people down at the Rising Artists exhibition at the Art Center. And it's going to run through July 25th. You can go down Mondays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., Tuesdays through Saturdays from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. And it's well worth going down there, folks. Not only do they have the Rising Artists exhibition, which is fabulous, but they have an awful lot of other art by other artists and so forth and so on, both ceramics, watercolors, oil painting, sculpture, and so forth and so on. So please support the Art Center down there. I think it's a non-profit, so I'm not advertising for somebody. But anyway, go into Studio C and see what Yvette's got to offer. Thank you, Yvette, for what you did. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, camera's rolling, lights are on. I'm going to take my spot here. If you'll notice, I do have a flag from yesterday, which was the 4th of July. And that represents a brick from the Memorial Coliseum when this city and all of these true patriots tore that building down. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay. This show, I want to make it a tribute to my dad, who, and the hundreds of other of the patriotic veterans and so forth, actually hundreds of thousands in the past, that have fought and laid their lives down for my freedom of speech. Okay. And a lot of people don't like my freedom of speech. But anyway, that's their problem, not mine, okay? There are too many good people who have died and who have suffered and so forth and so on to provide me with this privilege. And I'm not going to be too shy to use it, okay? Now, I would like to go through the shows here that I'm associated with. South Texas News and Reviews, which is this one. This one airs at 9 o'clock. p.m. on Mondays, and then again at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. And then I have another one, which is the Taxpayers Association for all practical purposes, and that's what's going on in Corpus Christi. That comes on at 8:30 to 9 o'clock on Mondays preceding this show. And it also airs at 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. And then Mr. Ed Bennett, a partner of mine, has Ed for Delmar Regent, which is 7 o'clock on Monday evening. And then, let's see, he's at 8:30 on Thursdays. Okay? So that's the schedule. Hope you guys and gals will tune in to those and try to get some information or keep up with what we're trying to do. Now, what I'd like to do is I'm going to be using some terms, not necessarily of endearment and so forth, during this show. So I'd just like to go ahead and give you the brief definition of some of these terms that I'm going to use, and maybe a little bit of information on where we stand with things. Now, dependent, determined or conditioned by another, a person who relies on another for the support. Okay. Now, independent, not dependent, as affiliated with a larger controlling unit or not required or relying on something else, not looking for others or to others for one's opinions or for guidance in conduct. Okay, so I consider myself to be a rather independent soul. All right? I was brought up that way, thanks to my dad. Okay? Now, what my dad did is he was something else, folks. He got shot down in France during the Second World War. He was on his way over to the base club to get him a drink after a mission over France. He was based out of England. They flew over the channel into France. And the CO came down and said, I need about 11 or 12 volunteers to go shoot up a rail yard in France, a German rail yard that was unloading ammunition and troops and so forth in their fight with the French. So he went ahead and forgot about his scotch that evening and went and flew that and consequently got shot down. And luckily he was rescued by the French underground, and it's my understanding from all the reports that as he was hiding out, he avoided capture for about 70 to 90 days, somewhere in that period of time. Apparently he was with the French underground out shooting retreating Germans as the Americans were coming across the channel. So anyway, and then he flew Korea and Vietnam. He flew over 350 missions in Vietnam alone, combat missions. So that's where I come from. All right? So I am independent, thank God for that, and that's a result of my dad. Okay. Declare, to make clear, to make known formally, officially, and explicitly. Free, having the legal and political rights of a citizen. Okay? And then we have filled with fear and apprehension. So that's what fear is all about, which I am not afraid of a damn thing except taking my people that are close to me and embarrassing them. Okay? So I'm not afraid of anything else, which poses certain problems for some of these previous and current events going on in my life with Del Mar College and with the city of Corpus Christi and some other factors around. Okay, so fear to be afraid of, I'm afraid I'm not. Okay, I know that's double, but I'm free from fear, so I guess that makes me classic fearless. Okay, now moral. Of or relating to principles of right and wrong in behavior, and then conforming to a standard of right behavior. Now I've got some people that I try to be as moral as I can be, folks, and I don't think I have been unsuccessful in that through my lifetime, but I do deal at times with amoral people, and I'll describe some of those here currently, and more amoral people than I want to contend with, but I do it anyway. And then I try to be a very loyal individual, and that's faithful to a cause, ideal, custom, institution, or product. Okay? And then loyalty, the quality or state of an instance of being loyal. Okay? So I try to be loyal as much as I can to my friends and students, taxpayers, and so forth. Privilege, and I'll get into this one, why I'm using this one. Privilege, a right or immunity granted as a particular benefit, advantage, or favor. Now, if you're privileged, having or enjoying one or more privileges, plus not subject to the usual rules or penalties because of some special circumstance. And we have a couple of privileged souls at Del Mar College that I'll talk about. I did on the last show. All right, lie, to make an untrue statement with intent to deceive. Okay? Patriot, one who loves his or her country and supports its authority and interests. Okay? That's what my father and all the hundreds of thousands of men and women who've died for this country have been, folks. They're patriots. Respect, and I respect patriots. To consider worthy of high regard. Respectable, worth of respect, decent or correct in character or behavior. Okay? And then decent, conforming to standards, good taste and so forth, of propriety, okay, morality, and the quality of being proper. And that's what decent means. So I know I'm not considered to be proper at times when I get off on somebody's backside with this television show or the taxpayer show or whatever. But like I say, I fear nothing, folks. I'm far too gotten too far in this life to worry about that. Okay. Then I mentioned my father, who was moral, loyal, and fearless, and one heck of a patriot. So I have dedicated this show for yesterday, the Independence Day. Okay. And now we've discussed what independence was, and freedom of speech, and so forth and so on. So I'll take it from there. Now the first thing I'd like to say is I've got this brick right here. I salvaged that out of the destruction of the Memorial Coliseum in downtown along Shore Lane in Corpus Christi, Texas. And I'd just like to say that I find that the non-patriots that tore that building down, that was predominantly our local business people with their real estate cartel ladies and gentlemen down there called the city council members and the then Mayor Joe Adami. But as far as I'm concerned, that Memorial Coliseum, folks, not only architecturally significant roof on it, but that was in memory and a memorial to just under 400 World War II Nueces County veterans that died during the Second World War. Okay, I mean, it was a memorial to patriots, okay, to men of moral character, loyal, fearless, and so forth and so on. So I found that to be totally despicable, all right, to begin with. And I was one of 5 that went down and tried to avoid having the roof collapse down there, and you know, having a centerpiece for a any type of a system down there when it comes to being a bayfront park and so forth. And I'll talk about Destination Bayfront and how despicable that was, the whole idea, in just a minute. Okay? Now, the city, after the 5 of us went down and signed a bond with Judge Klager for $30,000, which was outrageous. Our original one was through a Austin court, and it was $500. But anyway, I went ahead and said, well, it's worth $30,000 to me personally to try to save this building. Okay, that's being, I hope, what you would consider a patriot, okay, and a loyal person, and somebody of moral character. Okay, I'm not pushing myself, folks, but you decide what you're going to think about that. Okay, now. All I can tell you is taxpayers are patriots when they'll stand up and be counted. So I want all of you people out there to listen carefully to this and go ahead and call the proper people. Now, since this time, what has happened is the city sued the 5 of us for $65,000. That was amoral, as far as I'm considered, city attorney, Mr. Carlos Valdez, who, thank God, is gone now and got his butt beat in one of the county court races. I think it was for Judge Klager's position on county court at Law 4. Now, then what happened was the court that they went to said that yes, that we owed the $30,000, okay, because we have no standing in any contract between the demolition company and the city, which stated quite clearly that a court-ordered halt in demolition would not result in anybody incurring any damages at all, and that included the city and the demolition company and anyone else around. Okay. Now, I guess Mr. Valdez can't read the English language very well, particularly when it comes to contracts. So when he went ahead and filed that suit against the 5 of us for $65,000, he said those were damages incurred by the city. Now, if the judge says that there are no damages that are going to be built up and incurred, then how in the world can Mr. Valdez, as a city attorney, go against the judge? But he did it anyway. Okay. Now, then we appealed that to the 13th Court of Appeals, and after a certain amount of time, the 13th Court of Appeals came back and said, wait a minute, whoa, folks, the contract says that no damages would be incurred. if there was a halt in that thing. So forget it. Then it was supposed to go back to the county court at Law 4, Klager's court, I guess. Oh no, it wasn't. He's the one that signed it. We signed it with. I forget. It was a visiting judge that was a friend of Carlos Valdez that went ahead and ruled in his favor. It wouldn't make any difference what it was. These friendships that these judges have down there and attorneys can sometimes turn your stomach. But anyway, then we got a new city attorney, Mr. Risley or Risley, I don't know how he pronounces it. I think his first name is Miles, and it's Risley. Okay, who I consider to be an idiot. That's my personal opinion. So, that's also called freedom of speech, Mr. Risley. And now he went and challenged the 13th Court of Appeals. They sent it back and said, we stand by our original ruling that, hey, there were no monetary damage incurred with that by the city. Okay. Now, then Mr. Risley, here recently, I think this came out in late June, it's the 24th, it was on the front page of one of the sections of the Caller Times. It says, City, Coliseum case not over yet. And I just want to read this, folks. How much money is this going to cost you, okay, to collect $30,000, which is not owed to the citizens and the city of Corpus Christi? Now, see, the city thinks that they're an entire different entity because Mr. Valdez said that no city citizen, taxpayer, or otherwise has any vested interest or any standing in any contract that the city makes with any vendor or anybody. Now, try to digest that one, folks. Okay, try to put that one in your pipe and smoke it tonight. All right. So what Mr. Risley's going to do, and I'm just going to read this. It says, attorney expects to appeal for hearing. Now this is after the second time the 13th Court of Appeals has said, no way. Okay? The legal battle over if a group of local preservationists owe the city of Corpus Christi for delaying Memorial Coliseum's demolition isn't over yet, despite this week's denial of the city's request for a hearing or rehearing. That was a request, the second request of the 13th Court of Appeals. City Attorney Miles Risley, whatever it said Tuesday that the city will probably appeal the 13th Court of Appeals decision to the Texas Supreme Court. He added the city wasn't surprised by the denial this week. Well, why didn't you just go on straight to the Supreme Court? Maybe you could have saved us a bunch of money doing that, sir. How much money has the city spent in salaries and outside attorneys and all this other rigmarole to try to collect the $30,000 that we don't owe you? There's some terms I would like to use in your behalf there, Mr. Risley, but I better not do it on the air. Okay? Here, this is a quote from him. Our actions will be guided by the desire to maximize recovery to the taxpayers of Corpus Christi, Risley said. The five of us that signed that, sir, were taxpayers. I just happen to be now, after the fact, after this happened, when we were sued by this, I am the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association. And as far as I'm concerned, you're flushing all of my tax money down the toilet because you can't read. I mean, did you go to the same school with Mr. Carlos Valdez? Did they not teach you how to read a contract? What does you can't incur damages mean? I mean, that's the Queen's English. Do you want me to give it to you in Yiddish or something? Maybe you'd understand it at that level, okay? I speak a little bit of Greek. My Spanish and French isn't real good, but I'm sure I could look it up and pronounce it to help you in anything else except the English language. Okay. The appeals court ruling, which was issued in April, was a reversal of the trial judge's ruling in 2012 that ordered 5 members of the Friends of the Coliseum nonprofit to pay a $30,000 bond. Actually, it was $65,000. It was the $30,000 bond plus $35,000 worth of damages, if you really want to know the truth. Risley or Risley said a petition for review, which would officially launch the appeal to the state Supreme Court, is due within 45 days if the city opts to continue the case. Okay? So I ask you, taxpayers, since I don't owe you any money, okay, that's by the contract language in there and by the blessings of the 13th Court of Appeals, then do you want Mr. Risley and your city government down there, your city fathers and mothers and so forth, sisters and brothers, to go ahead and spend more money trying to force a contract that was very specific through? And the main reason for this, folks, is just to shut taxpayers up. That city does not want anybody down here questioning what you do with their tax money. And you can see how well they take care of your tax money. Go drive around the streets of Corpus Christi. Go look at the, I'll talk about the Coles and Ropes Park with bacterial in it here in a minute. That's due, as far as I'm concerned, to a failing infrastructure of sewer lines. And that's going to be another $1 billion to cure that problem. And then they want to go out and annex property and then build more sewer lines and stuff. It's your expense. You need to wake up out there, the taxpayers, and join the Taxpayers Association. We're non-profits, so I can preach that. I'm not advertising for some profit-making group. So I've got some more comments about this. Now, what city council group is pushing the city attorney, Mr. Risley, to file with the Texas Supreme Court? Or is Mr. Risley as big an idiot as former city attorney Carlos Valdez? Okay. I will file a Texas Public Information Act request for any and all meetings of city government employees and city council members at which filing the suit with the Supreme Court has been discussed. So I want to find out who's behind this, folks. Who was behind Mr. Carlos Valdez? Nobody'd step up to the plate and admit it. They just let him flounder around out there and play the fool and go after us and cost you fine folks a whole bunch of money out there. Okay? All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and file that Public Information Act request, and I'm sure they'll step in and delay that and try to delay it and say I can't have it and it was top secret and so forth and so on. Is any city government governmental activities supposed to be withheld from you? You can't get that information. It's very rare cases when that can happen, folks. Okay, and I've seen Delmar violate it, and one of Delmar's attorneys violate it, the Public Information Act plus the Open Meetings Act, and that was coming to a head, folks. Okay. So, with all of you people out there that voted the Destination Bayfront down, and I'm the one that designed the sign and had my name plastered on it as paying for all those no Destination Bayfront signs around town and so forth. But, you know, 65% of you said not no, but hell no, we don't want that thing at taxpayers' expense. So would you call your city council people and the mayor and everybody else, and then go ahead and ask them if they're really going to pursue this for $30,000, how much are they going to spend? Okay, just to punish me. And just remember, taxpayers, if you ever try to voice your opinion and it's against anything this city council and the mayor and the city wants to do, then they're going to come after you and try to shut you up too. I think it's called Nazi Germany when you start into things like that. That's the way that these people operate. Okay, so you can take that for what it's worth, city council and mayor. All right, I'm sick and tired of you. Okay, now I do know some people. A good friend of mine, Miss Tammy, had requested some information from all of the city council people, and she got zero response. So when you contact them, don't be surprised if they just totally ignore you also. And we had some real good candidates for this last go-around for city council, and we had some people that would stand up and do the right thing for the taxpayers, and you people didn't vote them in. So I don't know what to say, but if that Coliseum deal burns you up, then I'm willing to pay the $30,000, folks, if that's what it takes. But I'm going to take some people and expose them for the bozos and bozettes they truly are when they spend all your money trying to do that. Okay. All right, and I just mentioned my good friend Tammy. Okay, she contacted every city council member and the Mayor Martinez herself with 0 results or responses. And go figure, you know, once these people get into office, and there's a song out by a great female songwriter, and one of her lines in there is, people in power will do everything to keep their crowns. Okay, people in power, they'll do anything to keep their crown. Okay, all right, and then, you know, this brings me to something. I have cut back severely because of being called a liar and other things at Del Mar College, and generally harassed and heckled and so forth and so on by the administration, my department chair, dean, president, HR people over there, interim vice president of instruction and so forth. So I have been working my butt off for 26 years for Del Mar College. So after that, breaking my back for my students who are number one and taxpayers who are dear to my heart, being one, okay, my reward for dedicating my life to Del Mar College has been a whole bunch of lies told about me and so forth by my dean and department chair and the president and, like I say, HR people at Del Mar College. And that's been condoned by the Board of Regents members, okay? Now, there's a real play and a push to get rid of all of us old toots over there that are tenured, and we know what we're doing, and we've got the education it takes to teach classes, and we know what's best for students and so forth. But this administration has gone from 60% 6-7 years ago of our total budget went to instruction, and now we're down to somewhere between 36 and 38%, and we've seen this massive rise in the administration over there, okay? And then the president gets 10% raises while the rest of the employees at Del Mar College got 0, okay? Then the board is so enamored with him out pushing all his little projects in the neighborhood, in the community, that they bestow upon him a $15,000 per year performance bonus, okay? As he builds this enormous administration over there that's killing you taxpayers financially. And it's not doing students a damn bit of good to have a bunch of administrators over there telling them they can't do this, that, or the other. And I'm going to line some students up to give you an example of some of the annex that go on over there. And, you know, I haven't seen an administrator that gives a rip yet. I'm just being honest, okay? So with this time I'm going to have, cutting all my workload in essentially half, you know, maybe I should really contemplate running for city council or for the mayor's position, okay? Because I've got Tuesdays and Thursdays off, okay? I don't have to be over there except maybe an hour for an office hour if they still want to push that on me, okay? But that'd give me enough free time to do something like that. So, you know, maybe I'll consider that. Why don't you put the word out to the mayor and the city council people that you may have seen this show. And I am sincerely contemplating running for either the council, one of the seats there, or for maybe I'll run for mayor. Okay, I had the No Chris Adler signs out also, much to Mrs. Adler's dismay, and much to Mayor Martinez's joy, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. You go, you know, just go figure. But let's put that word out, okay? And then I understand that we've got a city manager that's looking for another job, I think up in Nevada. I think he's from Utah originally and went to school up there and got relatives just south of where he would be, around Las Vegas area in northern Arizona. So I don't know, have you had enough, Mr. Olson? Have you had enough of this this insanity that goes on around here? And or maybe you're just homesick. I don't know. I don't know what kind of a job you've done. I did know when another person and I went and talked to you about water issues and so forth during the Las Brisas debacle, that you know, you didn't pay much attention to us with that one. So, I can take you or leave you. Doesn't make any difference to me. And then we've got some problems coming up, folks. It says, city, avoid water at Cold and Ropes Parks. Yes, you must. High bacteria counts, okay? Now, I'm actually an alternate member of the CARP program. That's the Cold and Ropes Parks, okay? And advisory committee. And what we're trying to do is figure out where the high bacterial counts come every time it rains and we flush these storm sewers out. My personal view is I would like to see it tested to see if that is a breakdown of the infrastructure, which is the sewer lines and so forth, in those older neighborhoods, around Texan Trail, that portion of Santa Fe, Alameda, and so forth over there, where all those very fine neighborhoods are, but those were old clay pipes, folks, when they were put in for sewer lines 50, 60, 70 years ago. Okay, and my speculation is they're collapsing and it's seeping over into the stormwater sewer lines and flushing out in the bay every time we get it. Now, sometimes the city wants to say that that's dog poop and bird poop and people down there, the homeless pooping in the sewers and the bays, and I'd just like to find out, because that's going to be a whole bunch of money, and then we've got EPA looking at us. Okay, so I'll keep you posted with the CARP program. I think the city's finally figured out we're not bad people, and that committee is working with the city to see if we can come up with a solution to that problem and find out where the bacteria are coming from. Of course, I don't know anything about bacteria. So anyway, and then we've got a person here, Joanne, Sijansky, Sajansky, I guess is the way you pronounce that. If I butchered that, ma'am, I'm sorry. Okay? City's own code violations, and this is worth reading. Doesn't the city fall under the same rules as citizens? Violet Road Park has been with grass 4 feet high for these 3 months. They've already filled in the pool. City inspectors are ticketing citizens with 12-inch grass. If they use rain as an excuse for not mowing, then citizens have had the same rain and shouldn't be fined. And now the city wants to ticket old fences when they have old courthouses and other buildings in need of repairs. Some of these slumlord rent houses should have been torn down years ago and not been able to rent out, and not have been able to be rented out. Okay, they are rickety with rotten wood that could fly in a storm. Also, Corpus Christi, take care of the entire city and not just select neighborhoods. Okay. Now, if you want a real thrill, folks, and I've been involved in one of these, I call them the code enforcement people, the grass Gestapo. If you want a real thrill, go downtown to that code enforcement court down there, the environmental court. I think they used to have them on Fridays. But look up the schedule and go down there, and much to your horror, you'll see a whole bunch of shenanigans going on that you will not believe. Okay, and then here's another article that came out in late June that I've been wanting to discuss. Expert 10-year wait for salt site. Now, what they're talking about is momentum grows towards desalination. Now, I went and approached the early 90s after Kuwait was the Iraqis were run out of Kuwait during Desert Storm and those pushes over there. And at that time, Mary Rhodes was the mayor of the town, and I approached her and I said, ma'am, I've been reading articles about how the Kuwaiti government and the Kuwaiti businessmen and all were trying to give away anything they can to show appreciation to the Americans that went in and ran the Iraqis out. Okay? Then I said, what we need is a desalination plant down here. I'm a PhD chemist. I know what the whole process is all about. And I know enough biochemistry, I think, to understand that we would have to get rid of that brine after you clean the salt out of the water to make it fresh. And it can be done. And the world's leading experts in that technology are the Kuwaitis. Now, I said they would probably go for a 50 to 100-year loan, come over here and build a desalination plant for Corpus Christi, Texas, because of our naval presence here and the number of troops that went over to Kuwait from this area, Navy, Marine Corps, and so forth and so on. And let's pay it out interest-free over 50 to 100 years, and then that would solve our problems. Oh no, we've got to put this 104-mile big straw pipeline from Lake Texana down here, because I've got a buddy that sells a lot of pipe and steel. And I'll leave it at that. People know what that was all about. And then we've got a problem here where we're out preaching that we're bursting at the seams with students at Del Mar College. We're overrun with people coming in here looking for housing. The economic boom up here that Eagle Ford Shale has afforded us is going to support us for the next 100 years, and we need new South Side campus, and we need all this good stuff here at Del Mar College, and we need to go out and annex Chapman Ranch so that we can go out there and shut down the wind energy. But we can go out there and take all of our land developers and builders and put them out there with new infrastructure and all that we can't afford, and start building out that way. And this city's just going to be growing leaps and bounds. Okay, so when the price fell out of oil, folks, because of the overproduction, because of Eagle Ford and some of these other boondoggles around the country, okay, then just today it came out, coastal bend, local home supply rising, prices also falling, pointing to cooler market. Okay, well, the reason for that, folks, is when the oil field workers up there and all the associated businesses are cutting back because they can't make a profit at current oil prices, then guess what? This has happened before in Corpus Christi, Texas, and in Texas many times. Okay, but I guess these people that are so hell-bent on collecting all this money and making fortune after fortune, not only at taxpayers' expense and so forth, then they can't figure it out. They can't read a trend. They can't read history. So what can you do? But here's a signal, folks. Okay, that the prices are going down and the supply is building up too high, and now it's taken, the months of inventory left are about 4.5 months for 2014, and now I think it's below that, okay, or it's higher than that. So we've got a bunch of houses that are sitting there. Now who's paying for that? The people that are going to buy them, okay, because as the interest accrues on those houses, when the speculators are sitting there, the builders, they're paying the interest on those loans. That drives the price of the property up. And if we don't have an economy that can support that, we're going to have a lot of vacant houses around here and a bunch of money lenders in trouble. Okay? Then Mr. Jim Lee, I don't know if it's Dr. Jim or who, director of South Texas Economic Development Center at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Then it says economic trends. This came out again today. Building permits are way down since 2013. The commercial permits are down since 2013, 2014. Residential valuations are down. And then we've got commercial valuations down. And this is a real interesting thing. And then it tells you about the sales tax collection, and which apparently has been even since about 2013. They speculate some on this. It's not real clear. And I'm not an economist, so I don't know how to project these things. Okay? All right. So here it is. Okay? Economic trends going down, and that's due to low oil prices. Okay? All right. Now another thing I'd like to do, and I probably shouldn't do this, is take a little jab at Del Mar College administration and the Board of Regents members, but I just can't help myself. Now it says the town club, loved locale closes doors, and this was back on the 28th of June. Okay. Now, I don't know. there was a subsequent article that said that their business was off. And a lot of that is due to the fact that when you have businesses that are booming, the life is good, and then when the general trend goes down over the years and our economy is not looking so bright around here, then town club and restaurants that cater to the upper crust, let's say, are going to go down. Okay, so my statement would be, and I wrote this down. Like I say, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway, folks, since honesty is one of my downfalls, I guess. But I said, "Oops!" exclamation point. I said, where can the Del Mar College administration and Board of Regents spend your hard-earned tax money on meals now? See, they had an account down there at the town club, I understand. Now, and then within the past couple of months, I heard about a retreat that the Board of Regents was going to have, okay? And I said I just had to get this off in after paying for, as a taxpayer, a Board of Regents retreat, quote unquote, a short while back to try selling the Del Mar College South Campus idea to our local business people. So it was a 6-hour gathering of people for that retreat down at the town club, and I guess Del Mar paid for that. Okay. Well, the administration, I don't think it's dawned on them that the money they spend is taxpayer money, not only local in the community college district, but also, folks, it's state money, it's federal money, and so forth and so on. And as much as they preach we're bursting at the seams with enrollment, we're not. The enrollment's down about 3,000 students over the past 3 years, okay? And now we're counting dual credit students. And if you look at the total number, I've seen their numbers that come out from Del Mar, and you look at the number of full-time community college students, it's less than 3,000, okay? And we've got probably the highest debt per student now that we've got bond money. We had $157 million. I went by the other day and I've asked about why the grass has not been cut. Code enforcement people out there on that 97 acres at Yorktown and Rodfield Road that is now the future home of the South Campus of Del Mar College. I was told when that thing was purchased and questioned that $7 million purchase out there of money that we didn't have supposedly, but we found it anyway. Okay, then why would we want to go out there and buy that flooded land? Oh, well, it's not in the floodplain. Well, folks, I've known the previous owner of that thing since the first week I got to town. Okay, and she was going to build a big house out there. And she was a very prosperous businesswoman around town, she and her husband, the Colsons. And I have been by there when she was going to build a mansion house out there, and the soil was so bad and shifting that it cracked that slab. It was not engineered properly. There was a big court battle over that whole affair. And then when I drive by, she was running some cows out there, and that cow would be standing there sunk down in the mud and belly deep in water. Then the other day I questioned why that property has not been cleared off and cleaned out, and someone said, oh, well, they had contracted with a person to go out there and cut it down and got his tractor bogged down, and it took 3 weeks to pull it out of the mud. And we're going to build a campus out there with shifting soil that bad that it cracks slabs, and it's going to have to be filled in by at least 5 feet of soil as far as I can tell. I mean, I'm no engineer or architect or whatever, but I can see mud when I see it. But if anybody out there, I'm going to go ahead and call code enforcement tomorrow. That's Monday the 5th. Since I'm doing evening classes, much to the dismay of a lot of people around here, I'm going to have daytimes that I can spend writing more Public Information Act requests and digging up more information. But I think I'll call code enforcement and ask them if they have a waiver for Del Mar College. Okay? And let's see what happens with that, because fair is fair, folks. I'm just trying to be honest with you. Okay, now, then we have an ad that just came out from Del Mar College. And the ad is for a general counsel. Okay? Now let me give you the job description. At the direction of the President, General Counsel is a senior administrative official responsible for managing the institution's legal affairs. The General Counsel provides legal advice and guidance to the Board of Regents, Presidents, and Administrators, manages matters in litigation, and supervises both internal and external counsel. Okay? So we've got external counsel. One of them, Miss Cynthia Cano, I was looking through the check registers the other day as part of the information put out during the called meetings over there, the monthly meetings. And there was a check cut to Miss Cynthia Cano. She's a single attorney business out of San Antonio. And the time was from 11/6/14 to 12/11/14. And I don't know why that wasn't paid until April. And I asked for what and haven't been able to get an answer to that. But the check was written for that timeline for $23,056. Okay. That's a lot of money, folks. Okay. Now I've tried to get stuff under Public Information Act requests, and now I find out we're going to hire this attorney for the college. Now we tried that once, the general counsel, and that didn't work real well. So I don't know if this is an austerity move or whether Del Mar's getting themselves in bigger and larger jams and they need somebody to do this. Okay? But and the general counsel is a member of the president's executive team. We have an executive team over there made up of some real, I won't get into it, okay? It says provide legal support to the Board of Regents, President, and senior administrators, including legal advice and opinion letters, and preparing legal documents that support the college and its mission. So I guess what they're going to do is write up, have that person, number one, probably file my termination papers over there. You know, we've locked people out. Colonel Bruce Olson, we fired one of the best nursing faculty members probably in the state, if not the country. Okay, Dr. Janelle Bennett, and you know, we're in trouble again. There are more lawsuits coming down the pike. So I guess what they're going to do is they're going to increase their budget. And then we've got this company, attorneys, Graves Daughtry, Heron and Moody, I think is the name of it, out of San Antonio, that are billing $400 an hour through Mr. Augie Rivera. And it's been brought to my attention that his contract, see, Graves Daughtry does not have a contract with the school. They're doing it through Mr. Augustin Rivera, who is an attorney here, who's the board attorney and the school's attorney. And he's not supposed to exceed about $175 an hour or so forth, and neither should Graves Daughtry, but I've seen them billing at $400 and some odd an hour consistently for over 2 years. So I'm going to get a hold of Mr. Rivera's contract. I know a friend of mine got it under Public Information Act request not long ago. And we're going to see how much money possibly we're owed for overbilling. Now, here's the general count. Employment status will be full-time. Salary, a minimum of $125,391 per 12 months. Okay. I'm sure we could get an attorney that works for less than that. The city attorneys, you know, and all the county attorneys and stuff, I think, are cheaper than that. So my question is, taxpayers, why don't you call your Board of Regents members and ask them why they're going to hire a general counsel to go over there and sit, and you know, is it to get rid of all of these old faculty members that jump up and down and raise too much hell for you? Okay. Then we do have another instance. Oh, when I asked for Ms. Cano's information regarding that particular time period and that check for $23,000 or $23,056. Okay, I requested that information. I wanted to see the billings, and you know, they have to provide the breakdown by the hour and minute as to what they're billing for. But I get this trite back. Thank you for your Texas Information Act request dated and received on June 8th, 2015. See attached request. Okay, Attorney Con OPIA DMC has a number for that. The information you requested contains a credit card, debit card, charge card, or access device number that is collected, assembled, and maintained by or for a governmental body. This information is confidential under Section 552.136 of the Texas Government Code. Our office is prohibited by law from releasing this information to you, and therefore we have redacted this information from the enclosed information we are providing to you for review. Okay? Now what I got was a very bare minimum of this, and it was not much, folks. Okay? So, and you have the right. It says normally we must request a ruling from the Texas Attorney General before we can withhold any information you requested. However, Section 552.136 allows us to withhold this specific information without requesting a ruling from the Attorney General. Okay? You have the right to appeal your decision to withhold this information from you. Instructions for appeal are at the end of this letter. If you do not want to appeal, you do not need to do anything. Okay? And it says that the college has assembled responsive documents pursuant to that. Okay? Well, I requested copies of those documents after I went and looked at them, and I haven't seen them or heard from the Human Resources person over there, Mrs. Tammy McDonald, to find out when I can go pick those documents up. Okay. And then there's a department over there. This fell in my lap. There is a Del Mar College department, academic department, that lost 4 faculty members, seasoned faculty members, to these early retirement incentive programs that Del Mar puts out. And what Del Mar is trying to do, in my view, is to turn Del Mar College into the Coastal Bend College up there in Beeville, where they have no tenured faculty members. Every faculty member is on a year-to-year or 9-month by 9-month appointment. They can be terminated for no reason whatsoever, and therefore, you know, you're not going to get, I don't think, the very best people coming in to teach up there if they don't have a little more job security than that. And I've seen some real despicable acts committed up there at Coastal Bend College, because they have a president who performed some of the greatest feats of nepotism that I've ever seen in my life. Their county attorney up there says no, it's not, that they can get away with that under certain this, that, and the other. I'm still investigating that through the Texas Attorney General's office to find out. But with all the nepotism, when you hire your sister as a dean of workforce, and then she hires her daughter as her secretary, and you got your husband over there, president's husband, doing contract work for some of the campuses of CBC. I mean, what does that lead you to believe is happening? Okay? But I'll get back to my statement that I believe this is the direction that Del Mar College is headed, especially when you drop from 60% to less than 38% of your budget for instruction. Now, what this forces at home, this administrative bloat that we have going on at Del Mar College. We're hiring people into the administration at the speed of light. Now, these 4 faculty members left that department. I'm going to investigate this and make sure that I can go ahead and publicize which one. But there were 4 openings for faculty to teach students. Okay? Now, the mission of Del Mar College, folks, is to teach the students, and you find taxpayers out there are paying the bills. Okay? This is not to have a whole bunch of people come in as an administration and go ahead and buffalo and punish people over there. Okay? And try to run them off and keep them quiet and shut them up. So I've told them, I'll quit talking when they cut my tongue out of my dead cold body. All right, that sounds crude, folks, but that's the way I feel about it. Okay? Now, then they only advertised for 2 of the 4 needed positions. Okay? Now, they had responses to that and had 2 people lined up, 1 for each position. And then it's my understanding that the vice president of instruction said, no, we need to hire a different administrator over here, so we can't afford to hire that person on as a tenure track faculty member. So we're down to 1. We've replaced 1 out of 4. So parents out there, students, taxpayers, students, go call your Board of Regents member. Okay, they're easy to find. You can go into the Del Mar College website and find it in a heartbeat. Call the president, call the HR department, call the vice president of instruction, and just jump up and down and raise unmitigated hell. Okay? So, and then they wonder why I get on a tirade about administrative bloat. And then I tried to have a faculty member or a faculty meeting, and that's been turned down, which flies in the face of shared governance at Del Mar College. It says, Board Policy 2.5, Shared Governance. The college practices shared governance based on respect for the opinions and ideas of all members of the college community, including students, faculty, staff, and administration, each participating with timely input to the decision-making process as appropriate. Now, what shared governance is, folks, I have administrators over there that can't spell classroom. They're not professors. They have not taught courses before. Okay? Yet they're going to tell me how I'm supposed to be teaching my class and telling me what to do, and I need to get in line goose step with them, or they're going to go ahead and lie about me and try to fire me. Okay? Put letters of disciplinary action in my employment file, which really, that really concerns me deeply. But, the whole thing's nuts over there. So when I tried to get it says the faculty has primary responsibility for such fundamental areas as curriculum, subject matter, and methods of instruction, and other matters directly related to teaching and learning. So it's the faculty members, folks, that decide what's taught and so forth, not the administration. Okay? So when I called for, and 5 of us called for a faculty meeting to find out if a privileged one was getting away without, participating in the standards for the department, then we were turned down. I was turned down by my department chair, I was turned down by the dean, and I was turned down by the president. Well, actually, I wasn't turned down by him, he's just never responded. So what does that tell you? Okay? And they say they're not going to do it. They'll talk to us one-on-one, but not as a group. So it's a group decision on what curriculum areas we've got, what the subject matter and the methods of teaching will be. So what are they afraid of over there? Okay? I just don't know. Well, I'm down to about 1 minute and 40 seconds, so I'm going to take 40 seconds and wrap it up for you. I hope I haven't stepped on too many toes out there with taxpayers, but I hope I've stepped on a lot of toes, and maybe somebody will wake up at the city council and stuff. So why don't you email me at gsansing@gmail.com and let me know. Maybe I will run for mayor or for a city council seat. I'm going to have the time to do it. So why not? Okay. So I will go and turn this camera off, and then I may go ahead and put Yvette's beautiful bluebird back up there. And I can't tell you how much that means to me to have a talented student, excellent student that has that art ability. It's fantastic, particularly when I don't have any artistic ability. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up the last 40 seconds here. Ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Yvette Chauvin. This is a former micro student of mine, an excellent student and a fantastic artist. And I hope you appreciate this. And please try to make that showing of all the rising artists down there at the Arts Center between now and July the 25th. and I gave you the times earlier. And if you need to email me about this or anything else, it's gsansing, SANSING, at gmail.com. And I'll get prepared for the next show for you. And appreciate you watching. Good night, good evening.